What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this Friday morning, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it's the off season, but no worries. We're still here talking about some Arizona Cardinals, your favorite team, my favorite team. Welcome into another episode here. Today is Friday morning. Welcome in. Big shout out to the people that are currently in the chat right now. We got Nick L, Jean Paul, Brandon, Bird Gang family, No F's given, Vic. What's up, everybody? Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Definitely do me one huge favor. Smack the like button on this video. Subscribe it up. We're so close to 11K, ladies and gentlemen. It's just so close. I can taste it at this very moment. So definitely go ahead and subscribe it up. Y'all, we have a lot to talk about today, right? Every single day, I feel like there's another person that the Arizona Cardinals are reaching out to. And ladies and gentlemen, right now, the latest person that the Arizona Cardinals is reaching out to is Brian Flores, former head coach for the Miami Dolphins. And hey, honestly, to me, I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at it. Now, is the Arizona Cardinals, serious about a lot of these moves that they're making, right? All these interviews that they're trying to bring in? Maybe, right? Honestly, I think in the grand scheme of things here, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm seeing with the Arizona Cardinals, the aggressiveness with the every single day we're seeing somebody new that we want to interview, either a head coach or a GM. That gets me excited. Truly. Now, absolutely, truly. Now, Michael Bidwell did come out and say that he's going to leave no stones unturned. We're going to interview externally. We're going to interview internally. And honestly, so far with the candidates that we're bringing in, head coach and GM, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Honestly, I woke up today saying, damn, I can't wait to get this new Arizona Cardinal era started here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just really stoked. I'm absolutely really, really stoked to see how we're going to turn out for the 2023 season. So let's dive right into it, right? Brian Flores is a very, very intriguing candidate. Now, obviously, I had to do a little research here on my end. And obviously, I also have some, buddies that also do what I do. But for the Miami Dolphins, I'll let you know what they said pertaining to Brian Flores, being that was their former head coach at one point. So we'll dive into their comments a little later on. But let's talk about the latest report that did come out here from Ian Rappaport. And this is exactly what it says. The Arizona Cardinals have requested permission to interview Steelers senior defensive assistant and linebackers coach Brian Flores for their vacant head coach position, sources say. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, right? Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We have been requesting for interviews for head coaches for a very, very long time, and I am excited. And by long time, I mean a week, right? I mean a week. So honestly, as long as we're making these strides, as long as we're trying to leave no stone unturned, I think it's a step in the right direction. Now, the GM, right? I'm assuming, if I'm gonna give my utmost prediction out here, I think we're gonna hear who our next GM is gonna be, maybe sometime early next week. I'm only guessing. I'm only putting my 2 cents into this whole situation, but I'm only guessing that we're going to be hearing our new GM being announced maybe Monday, Tuesday of next week. Hey, hell, maybe even Wednesday. But I think next week is going to be when we're going to hear it. And the reason why I think that is because that's when we can technically start interviewing head coaches. So Let's go, right? I'm excited, right? Definitely put your seatbelt on. It's going to be a bumpy, fun ride this next week. So we'll see what our new GM is going to look like. So let's continue to talk about Brian Flores. Obviously, I wanted to do my due diligence. I wanted to go ahead and, look up as much as I possibly could pertaining to, who is Brian Flores, right? All I know about him is the fact that he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins at one point. Now, when I was looking into him, he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins for a total of 3 years. Now, in his 3 years, he was 24-25. That was his record for the 3 years. Now, I also looked to see what the breakdown was pertaining to what did the records look like from 2019 to 2021, because that was when he was a head coach, right? So in 2019, his record was 5 wins, 11 losses. Not so great, right? But I mean, that's probably a rebuild season, obviously, for the Miami Dolphins. 2020, he was 10-6, so huge jump right there. And then 2021, 9-8. So he's had two out of the three of the seasons that he was a head coach being that he had winning seasons. Hey, I mean, that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good if I might say so myself. 2 out of the 3 seasons, he was a winning head coach over there. Now, I know a lot of times that we're talking about a former coach that has been fired. Everybody kind of goes to that, right? Like that's where their mindset goes, right? They're like, hey, well, he was fired, so he obviously wasn't a good head coach, right? Like that's where people's minds go to. But honestly, I actually have some very dependable people that we can go ahead and reach out to, because I know some Miami Dolphins fans out there, because obviously, believe it or not, there is more people that do what I do, but obviously for the teams that they love. So I have 2 people that I reached out to, Dougly Do Wrong and TD Finstock. Now, if you don't know them, definitely check out their channels. Very, very good information coming to anything Miami Dolphins. But obviously, I reached out to them and I said, hey, let me know what your guys' thoughts and what your insight is pertaining to Brian Flores. Because the Arizona Cardinals are going to schedule an interview with them. And I kind of want to put my best foot forward to figure out, hey, is this a good hire? What do you guys think? Right? Let's get to my guy TD here first and what he said. So I ended up asking him, the blue bubble up there is me, and he said this: loved him. He's exactly what the Cardinals need. The truth is he got fired because he wasn't willing to tank. Woo! Woo! That's great, right? Honestly, right? You want a head coach with that type of mentality, right? Not willing to tank. And if you really think about it, he got fired last year in 2021, right? In that year, he was 9-8 when he got fired. So, I mean, that's pretty telling, right? That's absolutely really, really telling right there that Brian Flores got fired when he had a winning record. So right there, that tells me, hey, I mean, honestly, this so far sounds like a pretty good guy, right? So TD Finstock said loved him. He's exactly what the Cardinals need. Truth is he got fired because he wasn't willing to tank. Woo! All right, let's move on over to Dougly Do Wrong. He says this: he's a great defensive mind, but really struggles with the offensive side and putting a coaching staff together, but hopefully he learned from his mistakes in Miami. A lot to unfold right there, right? A lot to unfold. Now, for me, I think we all knew, right? A defensive mind whenever we're thinking of Brian Flores, right? Defensive mind, but the thing that worries me, especially with my guy Doug's comments here, is that he struggles to put a staff together and he struggles with the offensive side of the ball. Oh, it's really going to be telling to figure out if he is going to be the right guy to bring in as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Because if we're willing to take a chance on a defensive mind, right? If we're willing to take a chance on a defensive mind, I already saw it in the chat. People said I would rather go with DeMeco Ryans. But are you only going with DeMeco Ryans because we know what we saw from, right? We know what we saw from Brian Flores at one point. I mean, sometimes people flourish better, right, in a different circumstance, right? And we've seen that before with, like, let's say, for example, Bill Belichick, right? He was a head coach. He went over to the New England Patriots, and he's had nothing but success over there. So I'm a little worried, right? I'm a little worried. Honestly, I'm intrigued, but I'm a little worried, right? I'm a little hesitant. Shout out to my guy, Michael Evans, with the super sticker. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much for that super sticker. Appreciate you, brother. To me, I think if we were to go this route, if I was Michael Bidwell, right? Now, these are the words of Doug Lee Do Wrong, and this is the words of my guy TD Finstock here. Now, if we were to go this route, I would love Michael Bidwell to ask them, who are you trying to bring as an offensive coordinator? Because if your mindset is defensive coordinator, who do you want to bring offensive coordinator, right? Who's that in your mind? And if that's somebody that intrigues Michael Bidwell, okay. I mean, then maybe that's a step in the right direction here for the Arizona Cardinals. But if it's somebody that it's like, okay, like some regular, John Smith out there, then maybe Michael Bidwell obviously needs to make that decision for himself, though, right? But honestly, Brian Flores does intrigue me. He truly does. Now, I know a lot of people like to bring up the whole situation with Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa being the fact that they probably didn't have the best of relationships, right? Not only that, but there was a whole lawsuit that was happening with Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins, and somehow the Arizona Cardinals kind of got dragged into it as well because of Steve Wilkes. So I know I've heard all that before as well. But a defensive mind might be a step that the Arizona Cardinals might take, right? If you take a look at these words here, great defensive mind, but struggles with the offensive side of the ball. Loved him. He's exactly what the Cards need. Truth is he got fired because he wasn't willing to tank. So honestly, a lot to unfold there, right? A lot to unfold there. The Arizona Cardinals right now have a lot to dive into, right? Michael Bidwell, we're trusting him, right? I mean, we got nothing else to do but trust him. He's the owner. He's going to be the one making the decisions. But literally everything is in his hands right now, and there's nobody chattering right now in his ear. So let's see if he can make the right decision. Now, I know DeMeco Ryans was a person that we talked about yesterday. There's rumors that DeMeco Ryans, if he does become a head coach, his offensive coordinator is going to be rumors. Please keep in mind, rumors is Anthony Lynn, former head coach of the Chargers. So please keep that in mind. I don't know how I feel about Anthony Lynn. I don't know there. I don't want another Steve Wilkes 2.0, right? Because Steve Wilkes came in, defensive mind, brought in Mike McCoy, disaster, right? Disaster. And I'm not trying to put, Anthony Lynn and Mike McCoy in the same boat because they were both head coaches of the Chargers. I'm not trying to do that. But I don't know. I'm just feeling deja vu there. So I'm a little hesitant. I personally would rather have an offensive mind, but I wouldn't be mad if we got a DeMeco Ryans. So let me get to my super chat here real quick. Bird Gang family. What's up, brother? He says, trade D-Hop for Tyreek Hill. So here's the thing. I know this DeAndre Hopkins thing is a big topic that a lot of people want to talk about. I don't know where the rumors started that we're going to be trading a player for DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know where this rumor started, but me personally think that if we're going to trade him, we're going to go after draft capital, because there's no point if we are in rebuild or retool mode to get another wide receiver that has very, very high cap hits, right? Because I think Tyreek Hill might be making more than DeAndre Hopkins per year. So please keep that in mind, right? Please keep that in mind. So I don't see the Arizona Cardinals do it personally, but I mean, I've been wrong before. I would rather get rid of DeAndre Hopkins for some draft capital to see if we can get some young, talented, young studs that is willing to obviously, be great, right? Be great for the Arizona Cardinals. That's what I'm really looking out for right now. So yes, Brian Flores is what we're mainly talking about on this stream right now. What are you guys' thoughts, right? What are your guys' thoughts on Brian Flores? Are you a yay? Are you a nay? It's like one of those things where it's like, okay, I mean, let's interview him, but like maybe not a realistic candidate. How are you guys feeling in the chat? Let me know. Right now, the latest things that we've gotten from Brian Flores is that he's still employed, right? He's still employed with the Steelers. He's the senior defensive assistant and linebackers coach for the Steelers right now. He has had head coach experience with the Miami Dolphins, and as the Dolphins head coach, he was 24-25. But if you look at the records by year, 2019, he was 5-11. 2020, he was 10-6. And then 2021, he was 9-8. So a lot, right? Definitely a lot to fold. How do you guys feel in the chat? We had somebody say no to Brian. I'll take him over Vance. Okay. I mean, to me, Intriguing, right? Intriguing. Definitely a very intriguing head coach. I do like that narrative, right? Like I'll take him over Vance. And I think here's the thing. There's nothing, I can't speak for everybody in the chat, but to me right now, Vance Joseph is one of those guys that I'm like, I feel like we're gonna go backwards, right? Like 2 steps forward. We got rid of the 2 people that we needed to get rid of. But if we hired Vance Joseph, and no disrespect to Vance Joseph, but I feel like it's 2 steps forward or 1 step forward, 2 steps back, right? Because we're continuing to keep what we had before and to save face. Let's be honest here. The narrative out there is that if Michael Bidwell signs Vance Joseph, it's going to be because of a cheaper deal, right? And that's the narrative that's out there right now. What I'm seeing right now, without seeing Michael Bidwell making the decision, right? Without seeing Michael Bidwell making the decision, what I'm seeing right now, I'm taking it as a positive step. As an Arizona Cardinal fan, I'm taking this as a positive step. I'm saying Michael Bidwell said exactly what he was supposed to say and is doing what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to hire or look externally, internally. So far, did both of those things. So far, rumors out there is that he's looking to get maybe a DeMeco Ryans, right? Interview was reached out to him. Now, is DeMeco Ryans going to shut that down? I don't know, right? The only really decline we've gotten so far is that GM or the GM assistant from the 49ers. As of right now, we haven't heard anything else about anybody else declining anything from the Arizona Cardinals. Now, right now, I haven't heard anything about Sean Payton pertaining to an interview. Now, we did hear that we can now technically talk to them, but I don't think an interview has been scheduled as of yet for the Arizona Cardinals for Sean Payton. And I know. There's a lot of people out there right now being like, well, that's what we want, Sean Payton. I know. But I think we also need to kind of look at other different people out there, right? You know, we can very well find another good head coach, right? Without giving up that big draft capital. And I get it. He is the end all be all in a lot of people's eyes. Sean Payton is that guy, right? Proven to be a winner, proven to be a Super Bowl winner. So I know a lot of people want him. Let's see what was his record? Sean Payton's record as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints from 2006 to 2021, 152 to 89. Wow. As the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton was 152 and 89. Woo. Yeah, that's telling. Yes, he also had Drew Brees. Yes, I'm aware. He had Drew Brees. Okay. Let's take a look at the chat here. I want to trade Kyler for Oh my goodness, we got this up. I feel like we need to make a stream specifically for Kyler. I feel like that's what we need to do moving forward. We need to make a stream specifically for Kyler because a lot of the people that are against Kyler always come out in the chat. Always come out. All the positive people. Where are the positive people at? Where's my pro Kyler Murray defenders? But yeah, honestly, I think Michael Bidwell's doing it right. I think Michael Bidwell's doing a good thing here. I truly do. He went out here and set out to say that he was going to do this. Now, one of the biggest things and the biggest prize out there is Sean Payton. Is he willing to open up his checkbook, right? Is he willing to open up his wallet and get a Sean Payton? Well, that at this very moment, it's remained to be seen, right? We haven't heard anything about the Arizona Cardinals reaching out to Sean Payton for an interview schedule because as of right now, I know that the Denver Broncos have a scheduled interview with as of right now, they have a scheduled interview with Sean Payton. I believe it's Tuesday of next week, if not Wednesday. I know it's early next week, early to mid next week. They do have an interview with Sean Payton, and right now, that's really the creme de la crop, at least for me, right? For the head coach that I want to bring in. Sean Payton and Michael Thomas to the Cards. Well, that's the thing, right? There was reports out there that said that if Sean Payton were to come, he wants to bring Vic Fangio with him. So you got to kind of keep that in mind as well. So Right now, we haven't heard anything about Vance Joseph losing his job, right? We haven't heard anything. As of right now, we still think he's the defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals for now. But yeah, Brian Flores, man. Brian Flores. That's the topic here for the most part that we're really kind of diving into right now to kind of figure out, do you guys want him? Do you guys don't want him? And so far, it doesn't seem like very many people have very much interest pertaining to Brian Flores right now. Let me take a look here. I do see somebody in the chat saying, did I see somebody's tweets? What's going on in the tweet, if you don't mind me asking? Let me look him up here real quick. All right, I'm going on his, let's see here. Okay, here we go. Okay. We got some things that are coming out here pertaining to Sean Payton. So let's segue this over to Sean Payton, because I know there's a lot of people who ain't really kind of feeling the Brian Flores thing. So let's move on over to Sean Payton. We got some news pertaining to Sean Payton here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take some screenshots for you guys, and then we can kind of dive into this here together pertaining to obviously the Sean Payton sweepstakes and what's going on within Sean Payton. So let's do that right now. All right, we got some reports coming up here that I'm going to be uploading for you guys so we can figure out what we need to get or what we need to do as far as bringing Sean Payton in. Now, there's two tweets that we're going to dive right into here, ladies and gentlemen, and they are from Ari. I don't want to butcher his last name, but he is from My Sports Update. Follow him on Twitter if you choose to do so. So this first screenshot is basically saying the Saints GM, Mickey Loomis, confirmed today that head coach Dennis Allen will be back next season. So boom. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, that right there tells you that the Arizona Cardinals have a light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because there was some worry that the Sean Payton will be back as the head coach next year. But this right here is telling us that Dennis Allen will be the head coach next year. He will be the head coach next year. So we don't have to worry about the Saints him going back to the Saints or anything like that. There's another tweet that came out from the same individual. He says, any team wanting Sean Payton must first agree to compensation on a trade before entering negotiations with him. Teams have an understanding of the parameters of a potential trade. Houston, Arizona, and Denver have received permission to speak to him. Okay. Well, here we go, right? We did hear that Arizona, Denver, and Houston have received permission to speak with him. We did hear that, right? That's already been confirmed. Now, it seems like we might have already had the conversation pertaining to what we would need to kind of give up in order for us to even speak to him. So because Houston, Arizona, and Denver already have the permission, I think we already kind of spoke to them pertaining to like, okay, well, what's the compensation? This is what you want? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's a step in the right direction, right? Now, why isn't the Arizona Cardinals right now scheduled an interview? That's the biggest question out there right now, right? Maybe we've heard the compensation. Maybe we went ahead and got the okay, but maybe we're still a little hesitant to kind of give that up, right? Now, I'm going to be the first one to say here right now, ladies and gentlemen, I am not willing to give up my third overall pick for Sean Payton. I'm not. I know we had some fans a little earlier say go all in on Sean Payton, and I respect that to the fullest degree, but I'm not willing to give up my third overall pick for Sean Payton. I'm not. There are some potential teams that can very well try to jump up to get a quarterback, and that third overall spot seems very, very, very enticing, especially if this draft goes completely upside down for the Arizona Cardinals. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say, for example, the Chicago Bears get Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Let's say, for example, the Houston Texans don't go quarterback, right? And they get the other person, right? The other generational talent. What does that leave with the Arizona Cardinals sitting at number 3 overall? That leaves the Arizona Cardinals with the opportunity to play devil's advocate and say, who wants it, right? Who wants this third overall pick? Your very first pick, your very first pick of a quarterback coming out. That's what the Arizona Cardinals can possibly do if this draft goes upside down for the Arizona Cardinals. So honestly, I think all options need to be explored here. All options need to be explored here for this Arizona Cardinals organization. Truly. But Sean Payton right now seems to kind of already, or the Sean Payton and the Arizona Cardinals right now already seem to kind of have that level of what they already want. Now, let me ask you guys this real quick. Who would you guys want if Sean Payton wasn't the head coach, right? Like, let's say, for example, they wanted our 3rd overall pick and they will not move any move without getting that 3rd overall pick, and it's just way too rich for the Arizona Cardinals. Who would you want? And just give me a name out there, right? Just throw a name in the chat. Who do you want as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, or who do you want the Arizona Cardinals to go all in on for the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals? Because let's be honest here. Although Sean Payton might be the biggest thing out there since sliced bread, I think we also kind of have to come down to earth and figure out, hey, if the Saints want too much, we might not go that route, right? We got some people saying DeMeco, Bruce. You try to bring Bruce Arians back? Sheesh. DeMeco, Jim, DeMeco. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of DeMecos. Sean Payton stays in the media. Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, if nobody's willing to get Sean Payton, right? If nobody's willing to get Sean Payton, he's staying. He's staying with the media for sure. DeMeco, Jim. Okay, well, all the people that like DeMeco Ryans, right? They all want DeMeco Ryans. Let me ask you guys this. There is rumors right now. There is rumors that DeMeco Ryans, if he does get a head coaching job, will be bringing Anthony Lynn as his offensive coordinator. What say you? What say you guys? Do you guys think that is good? Do you like that idea? Do you not like that idea? Now, this question is specifically for the people that want DeMeco Ryans and that he's number 2 right under Sean Payton for them. There's rumors out there saying that Anthony Lynn might be his offensive coordinator. What say you guys if he were to bring him and he's going to be the defensive mind, right? Defensive mind is DeMeco Ryans. He's the head coach. And then we got Anthony Lynn that's supposed to mold Kyler Murray back to existence, bring back Kyler Murray to an MVP level. What say you guys? What say you guys? Anthony Lynn? That's what y'all want? Anthony Lynn? Former head coach of the Chargers? Oh, who's Anthony Lynn is a former head coach of the Chargers, by the way. Sorry. That's what we also need to think about, right? I know a lot of people love to fall in love with the idea of, oh my God, he's the next best head coach, right? He's the best head coach out there since sliced bread, right? And I think that's kind of where the narrative is going, right? That if it's not Sean Payton, most people want to go DeMeco. But DeMeco is a defensive-minded head coach. A defensive-minded head coach. What's one of the biggest problems that we had coming in this offseason? It's Kyler Murray's regression. Is DeMeco Ryans going to bring a offensive coordinator to fix Kyler Murray? And rumored to be Anthony Lynn? Is that going to be the guy you really want? Or do you want a guy that actually has proven that he has worked with quarterbacks that has actually succeeded in the NFL? That's the big question. That's the big question. A lot of people out there just hear the name and they're like, yes, give me him. But they don't really look at everything. They don't look at everything, right? We got to do a deep dive of figuring out who he's going to be bringing in. That's the big question out there. If the Cardinals do interview him, which I believe the interview has already been approached, I'm not sure if it's been accepted, but that's the first thing I would ask. Who are you going to bring as an offensive coordinator? Because if it ain't the person that's going to fix Kyler Murray, then what's the point? Because Kyler Murray has a lot to prove this year. And I mean a lot to prove this year. A lot to prove this year. A guy that I would like, and there's no way in hell. So let's not say let's not say Ken Dorsey for offensive coordinator. No, that's not going to happen. Ken Dorsey, if he does decide to be a head coach, he's going to be a head coach. He's not leaving the Bills for the Arizona Cardinals position to be an offensive coordinator. No. Ken Dorsey is a person that I'm very high on. I think he's a very, very good option. And the reason why is because he's worked with Josh Allen. And the reason why is that he's worked with Cam Newton. Those are two head coaches that has proven it. Those are two quarterbacks that has proven that they can do it. So that's my vote. Or actually, my list is actually Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, Ken Dorsey. And Shane Steichen and then DeMeco Ryans. Unless DeMeco Ryans can come out here and say, hey, here we go. This is who I'm bringing in, and it's very impressive. Then let's go. Let's get it rocking and rolling. What's up, Timothy? Appreciate the super chat. He says, my friend is a diehard Chargers fan, and he did Anthony Lynn wasn't a good, boom. Wasn't a good, he had horrible clock management, so I don't want him. I want Cliff. That's funny. Well, here's the thing that we don't have to worry about, right? Anthony Lynn, if he's an offensive coordinator, will not have to worry about time management. We don't have to worry about that, right? That's going to be on DeMeco Ryans, right? Now, is DeMeco Ryans also going to be a defensive coordinator calling the defensive plays and being a head coach? Are we going to see that as well, right? Are we going to see another Cliff Kingsbury 2.0 coming in as an offensive mind, but not trying to move away from the play calls? Are we going to see that from DeMeco Ryans too? That should be my second or third question, right? If you're going to be the head coach, DeMeco Ryans, who's going to be your defensive coordinator? Or are you going to be the one calling the plays as well? Because one thing that we've lived through as Arizona Cardinal fans is the time management and the timeout usage was absolutely poo this year. It was bad. It was bad. So yeah, that's another thing that we need to figure out. It's not just, oh, you come in and you save the job, right? You come in and you're going to save our organization. It's not that simple. It truly isn't that simple. Now, let me give a big shout out here real quick to No F's Given. I know you actually did give a super chat, and then we actually ended the stream. So if you do have something to say, just put something bold, just say super chat, and then I'll get you highlighted. Because you did do a super chat in yesterday, and then we ended the stream. So if you want to say something, just make sure you put super chat up there, and then I'll give you your time to shine in here, so you don't have to super chat. But yeah, I appreciate you, Timothy. Thank you so very much. He says, my friend is a diehard Chargers fan, and he did, and he went through Anthony Lynn, and he wasn't a good coach. He had horrible clock management, so I don't want him. I want Cliff. That's funny. Appreciate the super chat. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm hearing a lot of fans kind of with that narrative, right? I'm hearing a lot of fans with that narrative, with being the whole situation of, oh, he's the next best thing, right? Let's bring him. Let's make him the next guy that's going to change this culture around. Because Steve Wilkes wasn't our first pick. He wasn't. We procrastinated so long that almost felt like Steve Wilkes was just there, and Michael Bidwell took a chance. / Steve Keim took a chance. Cliff Kingsbury was one of the first picks. If y'all don't remember, Cliff Kingsbury was one of the first picks of the Arizona Cardinals. We hired him back in January the 8th. Literally, in January the 8th of 2019, right? 2019. Cliff Kingsbury was already hired as the head coach, and he was supposed to be interviewing with the Jets too. I don't know if you'll remember, but we didn't let him leave without him signing a contract with the Arizona Cardinals. We signed Cliff in January the 8th of 2019. So some's got to give here, right? If we go defensive mind, like I said, I won't be mad. I won't be mad. I mean, I want to see who's gonna do what, right? I think there's a lot of value for either a DeMeco Ryans or even a Brian Flores to come in, right? I think there's a lot of value to have a coach really focus on our defense. I think there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of value in it. And some people actually might say the fact that, hey, maybe we might get, Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons to a premier level. Because, yeah, they're progressing, But we're all living off of potential at this very moment, right? We're all living off of potential at this very moment. So a lot to kind of unfold here, right? A lot to unfold. If you want DeMeco Ryan, that's cool. But I don't know if I'm willing to take that jump yet without having to interview other maybe offensive minds. Because in my mind, we need to fix Kyler. We need somebody to come in here. And what I mean by fix Kyler, I don't mean like he's broken. I mean that we need somebody to focus on his development. That's what we need. That's what we need. Somebody's asking about Byron Leftwich in the chat. Yeah, I'm not down with Byron Leftwich. Don't let the success of the Bucs fool you. Let's just put it that way. Let's not let the success of the Bucs. Now, granted, this year wasn't very successful, although they have made it to the playoffs in actually winning their division. But that's South. The NFC South sucked. You know what I mean? The NFC South sucked. Don't let the Byron Leftwich narrative fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just say that out loud right now. I don't want Byron Leftwich. I truly don't. I truly don't. I'm curious to figure out where's Jim Harbaugh in this whole situation. Not John. We already know where John is. Where Jim Harbaugh is in this whole situation. We know for sure that Dennis Allen, the head coach of the Saints, will be back next year. We know that for sure. Now that the reports came out. So that means Sean Payton is either going to be in the media or Sean Payton's going to be a head coach of either the Texans, the Cardinals, or the Denver Broncos. That's what we know now. Now, why hasn't the Arizona Cardinals reached out to Sean Payton for a possible interview? That's the biggest question, right? That's the biggest question. For the new people that has joined, appreciate you guys for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Just a real quick recap of what's been going on with the Arizona Cardinals. There was a report that actually chimed in here pertaining to a new head coach candidate from Ian Rappaport, and he says this: the Arizona Cardinals have requested permission to interview Steelers senior defensive assistant and linebackers coach Brian Flores for their vacant head coaching position, sources say. And we do got some, reliable fans of the Miami Dolphins fan base. And they did chime in because I asked them how they felt about, Brian Flores. And this is my guy, TD Finstock. He said, loved him. He's exactly what the Cardinals need. Truth is, he got fired because he wasn't willing to tank. That's what he said. And then we got my guy, Doug, over here saying he's a great defensive mind, but really struggles with the offensive side and putting a coaching staff together. But hopefully he learns from the mistakes in Miami. So that's kind of what we gathered from Brian Flores. We do know that he was a coach that was progressing, right? His record pertaining to him as a head coach was 24-25 for the 3 years. He did get fired on a winning season. 2019, he was 5-11. 2020, he was 10-6, and then 2021, he was 9-8. So he got fired on a losing season, which is very shocking. But hey, we'll see. All right, let's keep this going here. What's up, Sam? Appreciate the super chat, my dude. All right. Okay, I see you there. No F's given. I don't see anything there. But I see where you put super chat, so just definitely put something there, and I can go ahead and put your comment up. Let's see what my guy Sam says. He says, Mike, when Sean Payton won the Super Bowl, it was the bounty gate. Yeah. This is true. And I still do remember the Saints beating us. The Saints ended up beating us. The Saints beat us on that playoff run, because when we went to the Super Bowl in 2008 to 2009, the year after 2009 to 2010, we actually went to the playoffs. And who took us out? The Saints did. And what happened? That Saints team won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, good call out. Good call out. Good call out. So we got my guy Sly in the chat saying Harbaugh, Flores, Payton, and Ryan. Okay. That's different. So my guy Sly wants to go Harbaugh number 1, Flores number 2, Sean Payton number 3. Yeah, I know that thing that's been happening, but I do truly still think that Sean Payton's a good head coach, though. Like, I still think that Sean Payton's a good head coach. I know that he obviously that is going to loom over his head, and they even made a movie about it too. So I know that's going to loom over his head, but like as the head coach of the Saints, this man was 152 and 89. He was 152 wins and 89 losses since he was the head coach of the Saints. So I definitely see where you're coming from, but like I still do think he's a really good coach. I still do think he's a very, very, very good coach. No, Evsky, I don't see your comment. I'm assuming we're waiting for it, so I'll keep an eye out for that. Yeah, because I'm not seeing anything other than when you put that super chat there. I mean, well, possibly, right? Possibly. Let's do this because it's Friday. Let's do this. In 5 minutes, we're going to open up the phone lines. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear what you guys have to say pertaining to what you guys feel about, all these positions or all these coaches that we have. So we will be opening up the phone lines. Give me 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, and the phone lines will be opened up. So that's how we're going to play it. We're going to open up the phone lines. I want to hear what you guys have to say pertaining to these head coaches. So definitely stay tuned. I want to hear from the Bird Gang and see what you guys have to say. All right, what's up, Noah F. Given? He says, Mike, one thing that I'm worried about is if the Chargers lose to the Jaguars and potentially firing their head coach and Sean Payton's try to go over there. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I know I read your super chat as well. I think we also were basically talking about the Sean McVay thing, right? Sean McVay is a very real possibility of him leaving. A very, very real possibility that Sean McVay leaving. So not only that, so if the Chargers do get one and done, right, they ended up getting bumped out, that might be a position that's opened up as well as the Rams. And if he wants to be in an LA team, damn, dude, there's a lot going against the Arizona Cardinals for sure. To me, I think what would make a big splash is if we did go for a Jim Harbaugh, right? And I know there's not a lot of people that like that idea. A lot of people don't like that idea, and I'm not here to try to convince anybody that why he's the right answer. But I mean, I think that would be a big splash without having to give up draft capital. Because we know what Jim Harbaugh was able to do, right, within the 49ers. Yes, he got forced out. We're all fully aware that he got forced out. But he was a winning coach over there. A stable coach over there. Just kind of my 2 cents in the situation. I think that would be a huge splash for the Arizona Cardinals to do something like that. Why we haven't heard him, right? Why we haven't heard anything yet? I mean, I'm not going to worry about it exactly too much right now. Not going to worry about it exactly too much right now until we hire our GM. Because what we're told by Michael Bidwell is let us first hire the GM first, and then from the GM goes our head coach, right? That's supposed to be what Michael Bidwell said. So we'll see. We'll see. I do see somebody in the chat saying Lincoln Riley. I'm done with college head coaches. If they haven't been in the NFL, I'm done with college coaches. Yes, I said Jim Harbaugh, but Jim Harbaugh was the head coach of these 49ers for years, like 4 years, and he had a winning record over there. Years. Yes, he never won the Super Bowl, but he still was a coach that brought consistency within that organization. So I don't want to even think about college coaches. No more Cliff Kingsbury experience or experiments. No more Lincoln Riley experiment. At least in my mind, I'm done. Jim isn't leaving Michigan. You're not the only person that says this. I at least get every time I talk about Jim Harbaugh, every single time, whatever social platform I'm talking about, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, there's always one. So AZ, I see you there. There has been rumors saying that Jim Harbaugh, if getting the opportunity in another NFL role, he will jump ship. There is rumors out there that said that if he gets the opportunity for a head coaching job in the NFL, he would leave Michigan. Now, it's got to be the right opportunity too, right? It can't just be a team that he doesn't want to go to. But there has been reports that came out that said that. And even in that Michigan statement that they put out where Jim Harbaugh was like, I'm here to stay, ladies and gentlemen, right? There's very, very cryptic wording in there that can kind of go either way in my mind. So I'm not going to completely shut the door on Jim Harbaugh. I think it's a possibility, right? I think it's a possibility. And I think it'll be a huge splash if the Arizona Cardinals are willing to keep their draft capital. All right, let's do this. Opening up the phone lines here, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, first, let's get to my guy, Arias' super chat. He says, can we really trust K1 to be the leader we need? Oof. We're just waiting. We're waiting. We're trying to slip through the cracks without talking about K1. I feel like every stream we're talking about K1. And I get it, right? I 100% get where everybody's coming from. The noise is getting way too loud. To me right now, Kyler Murray's the starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, right? The starting quarterback. He needs to get right. He needs to get healthy. He needs to get right. I'm going to put my chips in another year of Kyler, unless something happens, right? Unless the Arizona Cardinals decide to do something. I'm going to say yes, but I'm very, very hesitant to say yes because the noise is getting really, really loud. We even have players out here talking about Kyler Murray. That's how bad it is right now. Veteran players, right? We have veteran players coming out talking about Kyler Murray. So I don't know, man. This is a good question. It's a very, very good question. AZ fan, what's up, brother? Appreciate the super chat, man. He says CJ Stroud hasn't committed to the NFL yet. Could shake the draft up for picks for Arizona Cardinals. Ooh, good call out. Good call out. Good call out. CJ Stroud. Ooh, imagine. Oof. Yeah, that means less quarterbacks, more scarcity. Yeah, you're 100% right. And what of the idea of if the Chicago Bears go, best defensive player? Let's say, for example, the Houston Texans don't go quarterback, right? Let's say they don't actually believe in any of these quarterbacks. The Arizona Cardinals are sitting with the 3rd overall spot with the 2 players that we want, and we have all the quarterbacks on the board. What does that mean? We cash in, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that means. Cash in, get some first-round picks maybe for next year, and we'll see what happens there, right? So this draft is going to be wild, y'all. This draft is going to be wild. Let's see here. Appreciate the super chat. Okay, let's open up the phone lines, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's why people are here for, or that's not why they're here for, but I know a lot of people want to jump in, kind of, put their voice out there and let us know how you guys are kind of really feeling pertaining to all the news that we've been getting so far with, my bad, with all the head coaches and GMs and stuff like that. So let's do this. Let's open up the phone lines, everybody. We have about 10 more minutes in the stream. If this is your first time here, this is how we usually do things. I'm going to put a link in the chat. I'm going to pin that link. Click on the link, jump on in, and let me know how you guys are feeling about all of the news that we're gaining pertaining to the Arizona Cardinals, how you're feeling, where you want the Arizona Cardinals to go, what other coach you want the Arizona Cardinals to get. If I've been wrong all this time, this is your chance to go ahead and come out here and, let your voice be heard. Now, I just pinned the link in the chat. Click on the link, and I pinned it. So come on through. Right now, we're sitting with 21 likes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's run up that like count right now. We have over 100 people in the stream right now. Let's at least get to 50 likes. Come on now. Let's smack that like button up and let's run that up. Let's do it for the algorithm. Let's do it for the Arizona Cardinals and just all these different changes that we're going to be seeing. Smack that like button. Smack that like button, everybody. All right, let's bring some people in right now. Let's get to the phone lines and let's see what you guys have to say. All right, let me change my background. Let's first start off with AZ Fan, and we're going to move on over to Jean-Paul. AZ Fan, you are live on the AZ Sports Fan on YouTube. Talk to me, brother. How are you feeling about all the news pertaining to the Cardinals?
Well, it's getting a little nerve-wracking. I mean, just because now we're back in the area of who are we going to get, what are we going to do, where are we going to go. So, I mean, first of all, I'm going to start off with Kyler Murray first. Before head coach and GM. I mean, Kyler Murray, a lot of people that are hating on him, saying that his attitude, this and that, blah, blah, blah. If you get a leader like a Sean Payton in this organization, he's going to squash that quickly. I mean, I think that Michael Bidwell just gave him the keys way too early to say, hey, lead our franchise to a Super Bowl. Hey, here you go. You get control. I think it was a little too early. And of course you set him up for failure with Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
So why not? Like he's gonna run wild, and maybe that's why D Hop wants to leave. I mean, who knows? But it's just the fact that Kyler Murray is a generational talent. I mean, look what he did in Oklahoma. I'm going to keep saying it. Look at Oklahoma's film. People are saying, "Oh, he's too short to throw the ball in the middle. He's too short to throw the ball." You look at his linemen in Oklahoma. They were like what, maybe 6'4" and taller. He was able to throw it down the middle, and not only that, but he could run all over defenses too. So I'm defending Kyler Murray until otherwise. I mean, if something goes wrong this next season, okay, all right, maybe we should start looking elsewhere. But to me, I think he's done enough to prove like, hey, he could be a franchise quarterback, and he has a lot of skill and a lot of talent. So I'm sticking with him until he proves otherwise. But secondly, I mean, I think Sean Payton is the best option. I mean, DeMeco Ryans, don't get me wrong, yeah, he could make a great defense, but we have a lot of offensive pieces that can also take us somewhere. I mean, we got Kyler Murray for a reason. So, and if we bring DeMeco Ryans and just bringing in that offensive coordinator, it doesn't even sound enticing at all. I mean, if you bring Sean Payton with Vic Fangio, that sounds like a better deal to me. And Brian Flores, I mean, it's not enticing. Like I said, when you talk Sean Payton, right, it brings an enticing feeling. But when you bring up Brian Flores, you bring up DeMeco Ryans, I don't know. It's kind of questionable. And then in the GM search, right, Mr. Reese, who was with the Giants, I think is actually up there. I mean, if we get him, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Adrian Wilson. I would still want him to be a GM.
Right.
But if we bring in Reese, who had a connection with Sean Payton, that just, like you said, it sets up the stars. It sets up everything for the Cardinals to get Sean Payton. But the one worst case scenario I don't want to happen is that we bring Vance Joseph back as a head coach. Like we just went around in a circle. Yeah. But I think I'm getting more confidence in Michael Biddle because it seems like he's going back to where he wants to win a Super Bowl. He wants to bring a championship to Arizona other than, the Rattlers of the Indoor Football League that we keep hearing about. Like, we want a real NFL team like the Cardinals to bring something here to Arizona. And that's how I'm feeling. And it's like, oh my God, when is something going to happen? Like, what more can we wait for? I'm like, we keep hearing news, requests of interviews, stuff like that. And I get the deadlines, but it's getting really interesting. So
no, I agree. Honestly, I think I saw on Twitter here that it seems like Sean Payton on the Pat McAfee show that Sean Payton looks like a real legit possibility to come to the Arizona Cardinals. That's a W right there. But let me ask you before I let you go, what are you willing to give up for Sean Payton? Because it seems like whoever gets to speak to Sean Payton already knows what compensation. What are you willing to give up?
Honestly, a second or a third this year. Well, like, there's no way in heck we're giving up that third pick. I mean, it's way too valuable for Sean Payton. And so I would give up a second or a third this year and maybe a first or second next year. I mean, those are still high draft picks, and there's still a lot of great talent in those first 3 rounds. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just the Saints, like I said, them wanting 2 first-round picks, that's just unbelievable. I'm like, dude, you guys, like, it doesn't even sound like he wants to go back to you guys. Right. So, I mean, why even hold him hostage? Like, we gave up a 5th-round pick, or we got a 5th-round pick for Bruce Arians, and look what happened. He won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. So maybe that's what they're going off of, but I would say like a second or third this year. So that's kind of what I'm feeling. But other than that, if they want a first and they're just dead set on it, I'm like, okay, what other options do we have then? I mean, like, DeMeco Ryans, maybe Brian Flores, I don't know, but it's just Sean Payton, I think, is just the number one candidate that Michael Biddle needs to put his heart out and spend money on.
Right. Let me ask you this before I let you go, and then I'll get to Jean Paul here pretty soon. Question here. If we get Sean Payton, to you, does that squash the D-Hop rumors about him getting traded? Or if he does get traded still with Sean Payton here, does that mean Kyler Murray was the problem?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, the feeling is like, just if we trade D-Hop, that just goes to show that, maybe Kyler was the problem. But if we don't trade him, and I feel like Sean Payton wouldn't want to let D-Hop go
Agreed.
just because of how good he is. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we can go with Marquise Hollywood Brown. Yeah, we can go with Zach Ertz. But
Same.
I mean, literally, he won us the game against Buffalo in 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, literally hands down with the best hands. But if he does go and we trade him, then it feels like, yeah, there is something deeper. Maybe
Yeah.
Kyler Murray. I mean, the clips don't lie when he's yelling at Cliff Kingsbury, when he's yelling to D-Hop, shut the F up. Like, I'll get you the ball when I get you the ball. It's just like, dude, you don't say that to
No.
your top wideout. I mean, you got to have respect for what he can do. Like, he changes games.
Oh,
He's
hell
done
yeah.
it before. So,
True,
but
true, true.
that's my take on it. So,
That's a great take, brother. All right, man. Appreciate you for coming on, man. Later, man.
yep,
Peace.
later.
All right, let's get over to Jean Paul. Jean Paul, you're live on the AZ Sports Fan on YouTube. Talk to me about all the news. How are you feeling, and what head coach do you want?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. So first we'll go with Kyler. I think we're definitely not trading him. People don't realize we signed him to an extension, and there's just a lot of money.
Yeah.
As far as the injury concerns, we'll see how that goes. As far as disciplinary, I think Sean Payton will lay down the hammer because if you remember Michael Thomas, remember he was out for like an ankle for a whole season.
Yep.
And the story behind that was that because he was being rude to the trainer staff. So they're saying it was injuries, but I think it was Sean Payton telling him, you know what, you can't disrespect people like that. So I'm sitting your butt down.
Oh, wow.
If Kyler pulls some stupid stuff, Sean Payton will do that.
Yeah.
As far as D-Hop, I think D-Hop really wants his money, because I heard that through Gambo that he said he wants to go to either the Jags or the Chargers.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And the one thing is, as far as draft compensation, I would not give this year's first round pick, but next year's first round pick, maybe a second, and not a third, maybe a fourth for next year.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I think a lot of it too is Sean Payton kind of leaked this info that he might stay a year. Maybe that was Sean Payton's idea of getting back at the Saints, that if you're going to make this tough, I'm just going to wait one more year and the same teams are still going to go after me. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You mean
And
stay one
it's-
more year in the media, right?
Yeah, say one more year in the media, because the thing is, the Saints, what people don't understand is Sean Payton's contract ends at like 2024 or 2025.
I think so. It's through 2024. So technically, yeah, it's through 24. So it's 2 more years.
Yeah, so basically it's either get it, because teams will just, you know what, we'll just wait. You know what I mean? Like the longer, the more, if they make it hard now, they're gonna make one more year, the value of Sean Payton goes down because
It's
he's just
true.
gonna get older.
True.
And then, with all these things, I think Michael Bidwell is open to trading for Sean Payton. Otherwise, why interview him? I think he's known for a long time what it's gonna cost. I think trading for D-Hop, I think that was something that I don't know if his heart is set on it, but he's 100% being honest with the GM that might be a possibility.
Yeah.
I think if we do get Sean Payton, there's a chance that he might stay, mainly because, there's a chance for him to win a ring here if we have a good coach.
Yeah.
I think with D-Hop wanting to leave was just because he's just tired of the drama, because he dealt with it in Texas and he's dealing with it here. As far as Kyler, I don't know. I hope he gets his stuff together.
Yeah.
I think he's very talented. I think the homework clause really pissed him off to a point where he doesn't trust Cliff, and that's what we saw this year. Was that Kyler was just like he's just gonna show up to work kind of half-assing it, as opposed to playing with what he was playing with the first 3 seasons, because it's incredibly like ludicrous how he goes from throwing bombs and making all these plays to like basically nothing last year, like nothing. Anyway, so I'll let you go so a lot of guys can put their input in. I want to see what other guys have to say too.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, I mean, good call. Honestly, both very good calls, right? Honestly, when you're looking at Kyler, definitely, I think that's one of the biggest mysteries that we've been seeing so far, right? Because Kyler Murray has progressed to be that quarterback that a lot of people were looking at, right? And now that it's so funny because this is always going to stick to me, right? We had a call in. This was a while ago, and I mean, this was probably around the time that like we were potentially going to go into the playoffs, or potentially, right? And somebody said, hey, I think Kyler Murray's purposely sucking or purposely not playing good because he wants to get Cliff fired. Honestly, that might not sound so far-fetched anymore. Truly, like it might come down to that at this very moment. It is weird, right? We've seen a complete regression from what Kyler Murray was. And I know a lot of people are giving up on Kyler. I see where you guys are coming from, and I get it, but I'm still willing to provide some stability to Kyler Murray. I'm still willing to provide some more hope and to give this young man a backing, because last year he didn't have a backing, right? Last year he didn't have it, right? You had a homework clause, and who's the one saying these things, right? It has to be Cliff or Steve Keim. It has to be, unless it's some other, person in the front office that Michael Bidwell, weighs very heavy on their word, but it had to be one of those two guys. And that might have been a personal vendetta for Kyler, being like, hey, y'all are going to get fired for this stupid homework clause. But I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see how it all comes out. We'll see how it all transpires. Kenny Wilson, I do see you back there, but I think you need to connect your mic. Just FYI, I think that's the reason why you're not able to. There's this big thing saying you're not connected. So just FYI. Yeah, I think we can be that team still with Kyler Murray. I still do think technically we can be that team with Kyler Murray. It's just, let's give him a stable coach that has won, and I think things will change and the narrative will change. Because let's be honest, y'all. Let's be honest. Things change so much within the NFL. We can love a player one year, we can love a player the next year, and then 1 year comes through and we're like, oh, I hate this guy. You know what I mean? This guy sucks, right? So like, let's give one more opportunity, because we're not going to draft the quarterback. I know a lot of people are like, draft CJ Stroud, draft Bryce Young. It ain't going to happen. This is the opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals to really start putting some pieces together and build that young team that we know that we can build, right? With what we have in draft capital, this is the time right here. And getting another quarterback, it's just, it would be the third quarterback we drafted in 5-6 years? It'd be 5 years, right? It's not, you can't do that. You just can't. Like, I mean, technically you can, but like you shouldn't. Because we drafted Josh Rosen in 18. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So yeah, it would be drafting 3 quarterbacks in 6 years. Can't do that. Let's build this defensive line. Let's build this defensive line to a level of being proud of what this defensive line looks like. Let's build this offensive line to something that we can be proud of, to say that they're protecting Kyler Murray in the back. And I think everything will kind of work itself out. Now, am I optimistically, foolishly blind? Probably, right? Probably. But I still do believe in Kyler. I still do believe that Kyler can get this job done. We just need to make sure that we build around him. We just got to make sure we build around him. Jalen Carter. Oh, yeah. I love the idea of Jalen Carter. Trust me. Jalen Carter would be the bee's knees. It's just really going to depend. If Chicago Bears trade out of the first overall pick for somebody, we know that might be a quarterback. Texans, to me, I'm still thinking 75 to 80% that's going to be a quarterback. What does that mean? Then the Arizona Cardinals have the ability to pick out of Will Anderson or Jalen Carter with the third overall. Then we don't move back. If this doesn't shake out the way we want, and let's say the Texans don't go quarterback and they get the next defensive best player in this draft, then the Cardinals are sitting in a pretty position, because right now, if we're sitting at the third overall spot, we have the chance of getting any team to be intrigued of getting Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, if he does declare, of course, or Will Levis. So we got those 3 quarterbacks for anybody to come and trade up, and then we'll start cashing in for a lot of draft picks. So it's just going to depend, right? It's just going to depend on how this all shakes out. I still personally believe in Kyler still. So, but I'm going to still allow the people to talk, right? But, the people that don't like him, that's fine, right? That's their opinion. But I'm still on the Kyler train. I've seen what he can do, and there's no way in my mind right now that he is just bad, right? There's no way in my mind. What's up, No F's Given? He says, Mike, I want to talk about I want to talk about backup QB for Kyler Murray's return. Mike, I want to talk about backup quarterback for Kyler Murray's return. You're talking about like a backup quarterback? We'll get to it. When free agency comes through, we'll talk a lot about it, right? Obviously, there's a lot to unfold here, right? There's a lot to unfold, a lot of different things, right? Who's going to be the backup quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, right? I know a lot of people were like, well, it has to be Colt McCoy, right? Because Colt McCoy has one more year in his contract. But I mean, is that going to be who the next head coach wants in? Although he's under one more year, that doesn't mean he's going to be the backup quarterback for that next head coach that's coming in, right? It doesn't mean that. That just means the next head coach has the ability to pick whoever the hell he wants. Free agency, maybe we can draft a young quarterback in the 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that, right? We've seen quarterbacks that done very well, right? Brock Purdy, Tom Brady. I know that was a long time ago, but that's just kind of another quarterback that's done very well, right? When he got his opportunities. So maybe we can, find our own Mr. Irrelevant, right? Maybe we can. I do think that in this draft, we probably should kind of pull the trigger and maybe get a quarterback. I'll let you guys know once we do our mock drafts. Once we do our mock drafts, I'll let you guys know pertaining to who I would want, right, in the draft. And I'm not talking about first, second, or third. I'm not talking about later round picks that we can possibly, go after. But I don't want to go for a quarterback that's a veteran that we kind of already know what their ceiling is. If we're going to do this, let's try this the right way, right? Let's try this the right way. And with the opportunity of maybe bringing somebody in that can kind of spark this offense when Kyler isn't here. Because Kyler's been hurt a lot. Kyler has been hurt a lot, whether we want to believe it or not. Kyler has been hurt a lot. Every year he's been hurt. So at one point, we're going to need to kind of look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, is this going to be the right route? Okay, Kenny, I think I see you back there. Kenny, I think we can get this going now. You might be our last call of the show. Kenny, you are live on the AZ Sports Fan on YouTube. Talk to me, brother. How are you feeling about all the moves that have been made so far?
I'm feeling good. How about you, Mike?
I am good, man. Thanks for joining.
So the first thing I want to talk about today is how everybody's complaining about Kyler's attitude and stuff like that. And I agreed to some extent because, bro, if I was his age and got $230 million, man, I'd be feeling, some type of way. Nobody could tell me anything. I'd be acting like, especially if Cliff was my coach, I'd be feeling like you couldn't tell me anything because that guy went in the same time you did, doesn't know how to, coach. He's had issues, game management. I'd be zoned out. I wouldn't feel like playing for that coach. You know what I mean? And then, there's other people that are his age, getting big contracts, acting up, like Jordan Poole. He was talking all that stuff, and then what happened? Draymond put him in his place.
Yeah.
And now he's quiet. You haven't heard anything else coming out of that organization about Jordan Poole talking about all this and all that stuff. He's just been playing ball. That's not to say he's not talented. Kyler's talented. He just needs to be put in his place.
Yeah.
But on another note, I think DeMeco Ryans is my first coach. And then Payton, I like Payton, but he's too much for me. We need draft picks. We're losing half our players. True. We couldn't give up a first-round pick. We need more picks. If anything, if we can't get Will Anderson Jr. or Jalen Carter, then trade back. We need as much people as we can get. So I don't know about GM yet. I'm kind of trying to weigh out the options. I was looking at Adrian Wilson, but people was making good comments about maybe he's not too ready yet. So I hear some good things about other people out there, but I've been paying more about the coaches. Jim Harbaugh, he would be good. I don't think Brian Flores is the right coach for us just because he does have offensive issues. He's a good defensive-minded coach.
True.
Maybe DC, but we definitely need help on the offensive line, coaching up that and play calling. Kyler needs to learn a whole new playbook while he's injured, and how is that going to happen? I don't know, because, he has to be on the field to actually go through the plays. It's just going to be a hard offseason. I don't think we're going to be winning too many games.
That's fair. All right, Kenny, I'm going to let you go, man. Appreciate you for joining, man. Thanks so much. All right, yeah, honestly, so here's my thing, right? I think any coach that would be able to make sure that this next season is going to be at least watchable would be Sean Payton. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Put yourself in a situation where you're watching the Arizona Cardinals in the 2023 season. You better bet your bottom dollar we might even sell out of season tickets the moment Sean Payton becomes the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. If you hire anybody else besides that, I mean, people still might be skeptical, right? People still might be skeptical. But I think that if Sean Payton does become the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, a rebuilding year for Sean Payton will be 6 to 7 wins. A rebuilding year would be 6 to 7 wins. Hell, maybe even 8 wins if we keep DeAndre Hopkins. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. It's just we need to make sure that we're making the decisions correctly for this team to actually excel. I was excited at the moment. Now, when this channel was a lot smaller, when we were celebrating, oh my God, 1K, let's go. When this channel was a lot smaller and we were talking about the draft coming through, when it was either CeeDee Lamb, Isaiah Simmons, Tristan Wirfs, or anybody else, I wanted CeeDee Lamb. And people told me, you are crazy out of your mind because CeeDee Lamb, why? Right? We have DeAndre Hopkins, right? We have DeAndre Hopkins. We have Christian Kirk. You're out of your mind. Why? I think CeeDee Lamb has accomplished a little bit more now looking on the outside looking in than an Isaiah Simmons is. Now, Zaven Collins, I wasn't excited about that pick either, right? Now, he has actually progressed to be better and better and better, right? So no really negativity about him. Yes, Isaiah Simmons is looking a little better, but it's all about picking the first round picks, right? You got to nail those first round picks and making sure that they produce when they produce at the small time of their contract. They're only paid for a short period of time with reasonable amount of money. The moment that they realize that they're a superstar, they're going to be wanting to get that bank. And you got to build out. And I know people are like, you can't build off of need in the draft, Mike. You can't do that. Well, here's a fortunate circumstance for the Arizona Cardinals this year. A fortunate circumstance that even if we do build out of need, we can still probably get the best darn person at their position in this year because of where we're picking. Jalen Carter, if we trade back, maybe the best offensive tackle. If we do trade back, maybe the best cornerback in our eyes. So this right here is a pivotal moment for the Arizona Cardinals to really get this job done. And I hope Michael Bidwell's questions to these GMs when they are doing these interviews is here's the 2 scenarios we got for you next GM. One of the scenarios is DeAndre Hopkins might want out. How are you going to approach this? The next scenario is a lot of people are talking about Kyler Murray. What are we going to do to make sure Kyler Murray is at his best playing, building an offensive line? What is your route? What is your plan to get Kyler Murray in an excelling circumstance? Those should be the biggest questions that we're asking the next GM coming through. What's your plan? Building an offensive line, building trenches, or are you going to try to build this up like Madden, like Steve Keim did, and ignored the fact that we had no offensive line pieces that were, stable people that were in there. We build this offensive line like just Band-Aids every single year. Get a veteran here, get a veteran there. This person gets hurt, this person gets it. Plug and play. Nah. Trey McBride is looking good. Trey McBride is looking good. I just hope that the young man can keep progressing. Here's my also concern as well. We need the next head coach to come in here and be able to use the ability to actually work with Trey McBride and Zach Ertz at the same time. They need to do it. We've seen Trey McBride now. We've seen him. We like what we've seen. I want to see Zach Ertz and Trey McBride on the same field. Get a head coach that's able to do that, creating different packages, taking Kyler Murray 95% out of the shotgun. No matter if he doesn't want to, it doesn't matter. I'm the head coach. I'm speaking for the head coach, of course. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Thank you for all the callers that actually chimed in today. I absolutely do appreciate everybody for coming through. Y'all, it's Friday today. We got the weekend coming our way. I'm only assuming we are going to be, hearing a little bit more news here and there. If I were to give a prediction, I would say we will know our next GM by maybe early of next week, if not mid next week, or hell, maybe by the end of next week, we're going to be hearing our GM and who is the next GM of the Arizona Cardinals. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. We're probably going to be hearing this pretty soon. If you guys haven't already, smack the like button. Definitely do me that huge favor. Smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. We're all on the road to 11K, and I can't do it without you guys. So subscribe it up, smack the like button. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me get to my last super chat of the day. My guy Sam says, I would prefer Bill Cowher before Sean Payton. Ooh. Okay. All right. Well, somebody's going to be either mad or happy soon, right? In the next 2 weeks, once we figure out who the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals is, somebody's going to be either happy or very mad by the way this offseason has turned out so far. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to everybody. Have a great rest of your day as always. And go Cards.